Good morning, Uganda, and very many thanks for choosing to start the day with us here in UBC. It is the 30th of May 2023. We're almost close to the end, and obviously we're looking to jump into the middle of the year. A lot has been done so far, and I hope that you have been able to actually get your hands on the things you set out to do during this time of the year. But if not, you still have a little bit of time, at least halfway the year. But while we're here to make sure that we get you into the morning, and of course with exciting news of what is happening locally and also internationally, probably also some of the sad stories that you might need to know about as well. But our aim here is to, make sure that we're warming up the morning, whether you're feeling well or not, but at least we get to put a smile on your face. Now, I am not here alone. I do have the gentleman here with me in studio, and of course, we'll be going through that together. Well, it is quite a chilly morning, actually, a little bit windy outside. But the hope is that at least you're able to get to work and get to things that you need to do. And being a Tuesday, usually Mondays, you don't have you don't have any choice actually getting into the week. It's like it's Monday, it's out there. But Tuesday, a lot of people say it's a day for choosing how you want your week to be. So you get to decide. But talking about decisions, we did see big ones yesterday, and actually one coming from the president of Uganda, signing into law some of the bills that have been pending in Uganda. And of course, we're looking at 6 of those. Now, most talked about is the Anti-Homosexuality Bill 2023 that is now an act and put into law. Now, this has sparked a lot of discussions, a lot of concerns, and, I don't know, a bit of sadness, because we're also seeing activists that are coming up to say, no, we have to contest, this is not right. And we've also seen effects that are coming in now, especially from the US. And the President Joe Biden did come out with sentences like he has directed the National Council of Security to look into the effects of this law on the gay community or the anti-sexuality community, of course, listing all that could happen, but also reviewing the $1 billion in terms of aid that usually come to Uganda. Now, that is sparking a lot of discussions. I want to see what Robert feels about this. First, good morning, Robert.
A lovely morning to you, and of course our viewers. Thank you so much for waking up with us. Well, we are Africans, and I'm proud that our president did sign assent to the anti-homosexuality bill, and it's now into a law. Yes, of course, the international community, everyone seems a bit worried because we are going to be losing some aid if all that goes through. And we saw already effects to our speaker, where her visa for USA and UK were cancelled. But I'm proud that we've stood up. And as Sumani Basalirwa, the move of then, the motion said, I think we should now focus on the Arab countries for us to get aid from there. However, this is going to bite deep in terms of HIV, AIDS, and malaria treatment, because we know UNAIDS, their executive director, Winnie Byanyima, came up, castigated this. We know we get about 900 billion every year from, that is PEPFAR and UNAID to support HIV/AIDS treatment, and that is malaria. But that money may have issues. However, that said, there's a story that caught my attention yesterday, and good Uncle Felix is with us here. I think he'll do for me the translation. That I had to call the PR of the judiciary and ask, is this true? Now, listen to this briefly. It says, omulamuzi w'eddaala erisooka e Luweero asindise Kevin Nabaseruka ow'emyaka 84 mu nkomyo e Butuntumula government prison amulanga kusaalimbira ku ttaka eritali lye. Literally meaning that the magistrate in Luweero has sent an 84-year-old one called Kevin Nabaseruka to Butuntumula government prison for trespass. And what happens is, this land is for this lady. So when I spoke to him, he told me that as judiciary, they have sent their inspectorate of court department to try and find out how this happened and how they can draft our way forward. Now, what is hurting, many old people are rotting in prison because of their land. If it is a man, it is defilement. And I was told by some experts, this is what they do. They get this young kid who usually plays around this old man, get eggs, break them, smear the young girl, tell her to go there, you know. Then the moment the girl is there, they come, she has been raped. Now, with that mess, everyone will believe that this young girl has been defiled. Now they take this old man for defilement. By the time these legal things are done, the land is gone. For the old ladies, they'll either find out that, or they will gang against us having witchcraft around the village. But this is aimed at getting her land. So she'll either run away for her safety, threaten her that they're going to come and kill her, come and break into, and they take the land. So I found this very disturbing. This lady has been on that land for years. And she's now in prison at 84. Imagine, 84, how would you trespass?
Well, it's kind of sad, actually, and it's a shame that we continue to see such acts that go on. And especially, like you mentioned, some of them are even not true, but because of the stories that are built around it, we do hope that this involves, you know, the judiciary being really keen, but also police should be coming in to investigate some of these crimes. Is it really what they say it is, or it is someone trying to, you know, grab whatever they want from this person? So these are some of the things that we would want that the Uganda Police investigation team kind of addresses. Now, Felix, there is I don't know, and I know you also have your comments about what is happening from Washington, D.C. A statement came in from President Joe Biden saying that this is a violation of human rights of the people of Uganda. But a bigger percentage of Ugandans are actually happy with this. No, they're like, we have been waiting for this. And I did see a lot of comments on social media hailing the President of Uganda for finally making a decision on this. And they are happy, the Bazikulu are happy. But it seems like the people outside of Uganda are the ones that are not happy, even jeopardizing for example, the $1 billion US dollars that usually comes in annually in terms of aid for people, businesses, and a lot of things. What is your take on this? And good morning.
Well, good morning, Molen. How are you?
I'm all right.
Well, about this whole thing about the bill, the Anti-Homosexuality Act now, first and foremost, it is not a Ugandan creation. And I think Uganda forms now over 10 countries in Africa who have signed this. So we are not unique in any way in terms of that. Secondly, between you and me, we have been asking questions why the USA wants to portray itself as the custodian of homosexuality, you know. And the UK, we wonder why they want to portray themselves as that. But also for us, this aid that they are talking about, and many Ugandans will ask, where has it been? You're talking about 900 million, where has it been going?
The fight against HIV, AIDS and malaria.
But every day you tell us the prevalence is increasing. Every day the statistics that come out, they tell us
we are having a reduction in new infections.
That's the
and more people getting onto treatment. That because you have 1.2 people in Uganda that are HIV positive, and what you are having is more people are getting on treatment, which is very expensive, and new infections are actually reducing, and those dying every year to HIV/AIDS are also decreasing.
Well, that money usually goes for, I think, the PEPFAR that is used for HIV treatment.
And the Gavi Fund, where you have so much of malaria. Because most of these days, HIV/AIDS, our government doesn't put in even 50% of the money to that. Malaria, still the same thing. So they have been so influential on HIV/AIDS treatment and malaria treatment.
You know, regardless for all those that you're saying, we appreciate that as a matter of fact. However, it is also hard to tread, because, you know, opening up society to this, regardless of how much we are going to lose, it may also cause worry. But nevertheless, anyway, there are people who rush to court as early as yesterday. there was a clear petition challenging this.
Activists.
You know, activists came in, there's an NGO and some of the key figures, you know, I think I saw Fox Odoy, Andrew Mwenda, and a couple of other people who have already rushed to court to challenge the applicability of this law. So let's await what, maybe now the matter is sub judice. Before even we can study the law, it is already being challenged.
Yeah.
But of course, alongside that, also other laws were signed into play. We were actually happy for us that there's been an increase on the jurisprudence for litigation and for the litigants in the domain of law.
Yeah.
So we do applaud the Parliament and also His Excellency. But this whole idea of resisting many Ugandans from going abroad, what allegedly they are saying about the Speaker, that her visas were cancelled and what.
I feel like that was so extreme.
It was very extreme and very, very barbaric. Very barbaric. Because what then is going to happen when we are supposed to host a diplomat from, should you also cancel the presence of their consulates here?
Yeah.
You know, because in the event of retaliation, what will happen what is the state of the European Union today in Uganda? Because they have a full functional station here, and they carry out work in terms of monitoring, evaluation, all these other things. Like, what is their fate? So I think this was not called for, and it has consequences, just so you know.
Yeah.
Regardless of Uganda being who it is, that kind of action has consequences, and we are yet to see them unfold.
Well, we do hope that this actually just brings in good news more than the bad news that is surrounding it right now. But I was also happy about that is the Public Health Amendment Bill 2022. This has been pending, but also knowing that it's now an act. We are yet to study that and see basically what it means so far and what will benefit, especially in terms of public health. I know that there has been a lot of concerns about the public health system in Uganda, but now that we have a law on that, this should help smoothen up things. Well, we're having a lot of stories locally and internationally. We'll be looking at those. Robert and Felix will be going through the local stories, and I'll be taking you through the international stories. Robert, what do we have?
Well, what could make a better start than the president signing the 6 bills yesterday, where the head of state, President Yoweri Museveni, signed 6 bills into law, making significant legislative processes. The newly enacted laws cover a range of areas, including the anti-homosexuality bill, market regulation, human organ donation and transplant, microfinance institutions, museum and monuments, as well as miscellaneous amendments in the existing laws.
Now, President Museveni has commended the National Resistance Movement Parliamentary Caucus members on value addition, and President Museveni noted that the NRM MPs concurred with him that value addition should be implemented because it benefits all Ugandans. The president made the remarks today that was yesterday, during the ongoing 10-day NRM Parliamentary Caucus retreat at the National Leadership Institute, Chankwanze. The retreat is on the theme increasing household incomes, wealth creation, and the critical role of leaders.
And moving on to Uganda matters, which is 3rd June, we see traffic police has issued advisory flow of motorists during the Martyrs' Day celebrations. The Commandant Traffic, Kampala Metropolitan Rogers Kaumanseleko, told the media that stickers have been printed for those to go through cut-off points. He advised the public to adhere to the traffic guidelines. Seleko clarified on specific stickers to be acquired by attendees of Namugongo celebrations. Some roads will not be accessible, while traffic cut-off points have been created on major highways to regulate the accessibility of Namugongo Shrine. Motorists with stickers have been advised to withstand the conveniency by following the instructions of strategic traffic officers. Meanwhile, highway policing for trekking pilgrims to Namugongo have been tightened over the incidents of knocking down 4. Police have prohibited some items which are suspected to pose security threat to the crowd. Pilgrims are advised to be vigilant, to to any suspected individual and take caution of food poison.
Now, the Anti-Corruption High Court has dismissed an application filed by Minister Agnes Nandutu seeking to halt the charges against her relating to her allegedly involvement in the Karamoja iron sheet scandal. Now, Minister Nandutu had wanted court to halt the case hearing for the Constitutional Court to interpret the violation of charges against and right of fair hearing.
Now, crossing over onto the international scene, NATO has condemned as totally unacceptable attacks by demonstrators in Kosovo that left some 25 of its peacekeepers injured. Police and NATO troops clashed with the protesters in the north, where there has been unrest over the installation of ethnic Albanian mayors. Tear gas and stun grenades were used to deter protesters in Vaken after they tried to invade a government building. NATO soldiers also formed a security cordon around 2 other town halls. The crisis dates back to April when Kosovo Serbs boycotted local election, allowing ethnic Albanians to take control of local councils with a turnout of less than 4%. Now, Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro has visited Brazil for the first time since he was banned by former far-right President Jair Bolsonaro in 2019. Mr. Maduro was received by the new president, fellow leftist Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, ahead of a summit of the Latin American leaders in Brasilia. What is important about Maduro coming here is that it's the beginning of Maduro's return, Lula said. Mr. Maduro talked of a new era in bilateral relations, and Lula said the region should tackle poverty. A number of countries questioned the legitimacy of Mr. Maduro, who is described by opponents as a dictator. Greeting his guest in the Brazilian capital on Monday, Lula said his own return had come 5 months earlier, referring to the time when he again assumed power after beating Mr. Bolsonaro in a tight presidential election. And in Nigeria, the new president of Africa's largest democracy, Nigeria, has used his inaugural address to make a major policy announcement to ease pressure on government finances. Bola Tinubu said the decades-long subsidy on petroleum products was being scrapped. Fuel subsidy is gone, he told a packed crowd in the capital, Abuja. He won disputed elections with a promise to renew hope, but he faces tough economic and security challenges. It is not clear when the new policy will kick in, but ending the subsidy will lead to a rise in the price of petrol and could have a knock on the effect of other prices. Previous Nigerian governments have tried and failed to end the subsidy that was first introduced in the 1970s. Now in climate news, private sector roots for inclusion in agroecology in climate change fight. As government moves closer to finalizing of drafting Uganda's climate resilient and low carbon agriculture development strategy 2050, the private sector, led by participatory ecological land use management Uganda, is rooting for inclusion of agroecology if the intended objectives are to be achieved. The strategy, which is being developed by Uganda's Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, MAIF, aims at reducing the negative impacts of climate change in addition to reducing the production and absorption of carbon emissions. Now, the strategy looks into the future and draws on the existing policies and strategies to provide concrete priority actions that will contribute to building a climate-resilient, low-carbon agriculture sector by 2050. Now, this reads part of the strategy, which is still under development. Well, there you have it. I do find the story from Nigeria quite interesting. The president just, got inaugurated, and in his first speech, he says, guess what? I'm taking off the subsidy on fuel, and this could actually mean a rise in the prices of fuel. And I'm imagining the faces of Nigerians that were at that event, you know, being told the president we just put in power is actually putting something that is going to increase the prices in fuel. And isn't that quite disturbing? I don't know, it's sparking a lot of discussions. By the way, I did see some Nigerians taking it to social media about this whole fuel thing. It's quite interesting. Robert, if you anything about
we must accept many governments globally are suffering. And they're looking at all ways to improve or increase revenue, and this will involve cuts here and there. This will involve, of course, cancelling some subsidies because you need revenue over that. But I've just received a message from the spokesperson of the judiciary, Jamson Karimali, and he says, Robert, the 84-year-old lady, Kevina Nabuseruka, has been released. This follows the intervention of the DPP, Jane Francis Abodo, who drove to court and discontinued her prosecution. So, at least, yeah, some relief there, but how many others where the DPP or this doesn't come to the attention of the judiciary suffer and rot there?
Well, at least there is clarity there, but we also have to appreciate that we still need clarity on a lot of issues, and gladly that the spokesperson can come through and talk about some of these issues.
Away from just castigating what the judiciary does, also we need to carry the same weight on the fourth estate or the media. Your concentration on national matters and interests is also definitely wanting. Because you can imagine if these things don't come to the domain of news, the judiciary may, not everyone is available to in the corridors of courts and what. I think the media has a role to play in terms of bringing to life some of these atrocities or injustices. But what happens? Media is all over reporting. So I think our focus also is definitely wanting. Because if these things are brought to the news, sometimes it helps, like that matter and many others. We can only deal with what is known. In as much as the judiciary has a role, but they cannot be everywhere. But some of these things, and you have seen when they come to the domain of news, there's definitely a reaction. So away from calling upon the judiciary failing in various ways, what is the role of other players? For example, the media. Where are you in such matters of national importance?
Yeah. Everyone should be coming on board, and you rightly put it, the media plays a huge role here. We do hope that we can use this platform to actually, you know, talk matters that are beneficial to Ugandans. Well, this morning we also want to take you through an inspirational song of the day, just to get you started, to kickstart your day, and make sure that you're able to join us all the way. We do have Good Morning Uganda newsreel that will be coming in right after the break, and then later than that we'll also be taking you onto the roads to see how the traffic is like, the weather for today, and we'll also have another topical discussion with Good Morning Uganda agenda. Later than that, we'll also be taking you through sports, and later on going into Good Morning Uganda Extra. For now, we get into the inspirational song of the day. We'll be back with the newsreel.
Live from UB
Has been done so far, and I hope that you have been able to actually get your hands on the things you set out to do during this time of the year. But if not, you still have a little bit of time, at least halfway the year. But well, we're here to make sure that we get you into the morning, and of course with exciting news of what is happening locally and also internationally, probably also some of the sad stories that you might need to know about as well. But what I aim here is to, you know, make sure that we're warming up the morning, whether you're feeling well or not, but at least we get to put a smile on your face. Now, I am not here alone. I do have the gentleman here with me in studio, and of course, we'll be going through that together. Well, it is quite a chilly morning, actually, a little bit windy outside. But the hope is that at least you're able to get to work and get to things that you need to do. And being a Tuesday, usually Mondays, you don't have a little bit of, you don't have any choice actually getting into the week. It's like it's Monday, it's out there. But Tuesday, a lot of people say it's a day for choosing how you want your week to be. So you get to decide. But talking about decisions, we did see big ones yesterday, and actually one coming from the president of Uganda, signing into law some of the bills that have been pending in Uganda. And of course, we're looking at 6 of those. Now, most talked about is the Anti-Homosexuality Bill 2023 that is now an act and put into law. Now, this has sparked a lot of discussions, a lot of concerns, and you know, I don't know, a bit of sadness, because we're also seeing activists that are coming up to say, no, we have to contest, this is not right. And we've also seen effects that are coming in now, especially from the US. And President Joe Biden did come out with sentences like he has directed the National Council of Security to look into the effects of this law on the gay community, or the the anti-sexuality community, of course, you know, listing all that could happen, but also reviewing the $1 billion in terms of aid that usually come to Uganda. Now that is sparking a lot of discussions. I want to see what Robert feels about this. First, good morning, Robert.
A lovely morning to you, and of course our viewers. Thank you so much for waking up with us. Well, we are Africans, and I'm proud that our president did sign, assent to the anti-homosexuality bill, and it's now into a law. Yes, of course, the international community, everyone seems a bit worried, because we are going to be losing some aid if all that goes through. And we saw the effects to our speaker, where her visa for USA and UK were cancelled. But I'm proud that we've stood up. And as Sumani Basalirwa, the move of then, the motion said, I think we should now focus on the Arab countries for us to get aid from there. However, this is going to bite deep in terms of HIV, AIDS, and malaria treatment, because we know UNAIDS, their executive director, Winnie Byanyima, came up, castigated this. We know we get about 900 billion every year from, that is PEPFAR and UNAID, to support HIV AIDS treatment, and that is malaria. But that money may have issues. However, that said, there's a story that caught my attention yesterday, and good Uncle Felix is with us here. I think he'll do for me the translation. That I had to call the PR of the judiciary and ask, is this true? Now listen to this briefly. It says, omulamuzi w'eddaala erisooka Eruweero asindise Kevin Nabaseruka ow'emyaka 84 mu nkomyo e Butuntumula government prison amulanga kusaalimbira ku ttaka eritali lye. Literally meaning that the magistrate in Ruwero has sent an 84-year-old one called Kevin Nabaseruka to Butuntumula government prison for trespass. And what happens is, this land is for this lady. So when I spoke to him, he told me that as judiciary, they have sent their inspectorate of court department to try and find out how this happened and how they can draft our way forward. Now, what is hurting, many old people are rotting in prison because of their land. If it is a man, it is defilement. And I was told by some experts, this is what they do. They get this young kid who usually plays around this old man, get eggs, break them, smear the young girl, tell her to go there, you know. Then the moment the girl is there, they come, she has been raped. Now, with that mess, everyone will believe that this young girl has been defiled. Now they take this old man for defilement. By the time these legal things are done, the land is gone. For the old ladies, they'll either find out that, or they will gang against us having witchcraft around the village. But this is aimed at getting her land. So she'll either run away for her safety, threaten her that they're going to come and kill her, come and break into, and they take the land. So I found this very disturbing. This lady has been on that land for years, and she's now in prison.
of the power of healing. Departure will be Friday 16th up to 23rd June 2023. Basic package starting at $1,200, 8 days and 7 nights. To register, come to Gotove Tours and Travel at Nalukwago Complex Suta, UG's Extender, George Street, Nakasero, or call +256 758 530 059 or +256 784 568 392 or WhatsApp +256 782 556 078. Only few slots are left. Powered by UBC Television.
Glow as you are with the new Spark 10 series smartphone from Airtel in partnership with Tecno. Own the timelines with picture-perfect selfies using the 32-megapixel selfie camera, 256 GB storage, G88 gaming processor.
The Spark 10 smartphone comes with free 3 GB from Airtel, so you can stay connected to a world of possibilities. Dial *100*5# to enjoy free data.
Airtel, a reason to imagine.
In partnership with Tecno. Stop at nothing.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Well, good morning, Uganda. Again, welcome back. And if you're just joining us, we're getting into the newsreel for this morning, looking at what is happening across the country and, of course, what is sparking discussions right now. We want to try and understand what this means. We're talking about the Anti-Homosexuality Act 2023 that has just been put into law. And obviously, this is something that a lot of Ugandans have been looking forward to, and they do condemn the act of homosexuality in Uganda. This has been an issue throughout the communities, throughout schools, and the recent incidences that happened. This is something that Ugandans have over time talked about, saying we need a law here that can help us move forward. And yesterday, the president of Uganda did put 6 laws into play. Among them was the Anti-Homosexuality Act 2023. Now this, nevertheless, it is also causing a lot of reactions, both locally but also internationally. We did see how some of the activists were coming out to say that they have the anti-homosexuality bill did not even consult them. They were not consulted before this got into law, and they're saying that there is lack of procedure there. This is their argument, and they want to challenge this law. But also, we have also seen reactions that are coming in, that is from the president of the US, President Joe Biden, saying that this is not acceptable. In his words, he did say, he did threaten the aid that is being given to Uganda, and of course investments in Uganda in response to the country's newly implemented law against homosexuality. And he called this a grave human rights violation. He did say a lot in there, but mostly he did say that he asked the National Security Council to evaluate the effects of the enactment of Uganda's Anti-Homosexuality Act and reevaluate that annual contribution. And this is something that is now sparking conversation. Are we yet to see, other people that could make such threats? But also on the other side, the president of Uganda did actually say something about it. He says one of the things they are, and in brackets donors, are threatening is to kill our 1.2 million people who have been surviving on the PEPFAR funds to buy drugs for HIV and AIDS, so that we do not buy the drugs for our people and they die. And he goes ahead to say this is a simple matter which we can fight, but parasites cannot fight. And if you fear to sacrifice, you cannot fight. In order for you to fight. I want to fast cure you of parasitism. Europe is lost, and they also want us to be lost. Those who want an easy life will end up being a prostitute. Those are words from the president. Of course, after we did see the US threaten that, but it also sparks a very, very important discussion looking into the newly enacted law and what effects it could have. But also we're standing firm. The president is saying this is something that we can overcome. We will not get lost. We will not lose. Over time, he has talked about our morals here. We're not going to lose that, all in the name of getting donor aid. And obviously there is a lot that goes in there. I want to bring in Robert here. We're looking at mixed reactions here. We're seeing the bigger part of Ugandans happy about the law, but then you do have also a smaller group that is challenging now, but also the reactions that are coming in. We want to understand especially what this law means for our country.
Well, what His Excellency said and what majority of the voices of Ugandans are saying, we are simply, and we want to let the Western world know, we are simply saying we are not going to sell our souls to the devil. That's what we are saying. Understand us. We've simply refused to sell our souls to the devil. Second, we have different cultures, customs, and that is not ours. Homosexuality is not ours. It's an abomination in our society. Even those that brought in this copied it from maybe somewhere else. It's not African. And even when religion came in, then it bans, it forbids homosexuality. So Ugandan as an independent country, notwithstanding, of course, in international relations, regional and world and global democratic ties, or also at the other side of, delegates, and that being there. But we're an independent country. And second, we make laws for Ugandans. So this is a law for Ugandans. And it beats me how someone gets concerned if for me, in my culture, I eat cats and you don't eat them. I've not stolen anything from you. I simply look for these strange cats, I eat them. So if you don't eat them, I'm not going to force you that, brother, because for us we eat monkeys or we eat cats, brother, you must eat monkeys. It doesn't work that way. If you eat monkeys, you have our brothers, neighbors here. It is normal for them to eat monkey. It is normal to have these cats. So they can't force us to eat cats. So Ugandans are simply saying, well, this is not our thing. For us, we don't eat the monkeys, we don't eat the cats, and we won't eat them. So we make regulations for people of Uganda and our members of parliament. It was a huge turn-up. Agreed that homosexuality is not our thing. Now, this is the fear, because this act has about, I've heard activists talk about it, I've heard Europeans talk about it, some of the content of this. And this is where they look at and say, life imprisonment. That is, first they begin with, if someone is found in Uganda guilty of engaging in homosexuality acts with a child or an elderly person or a vulnerable person, the maximum sentence is death. And that is the word maximum. But remember, why would you bring a minor into such an act? An old person into such an act? So they look at that now Uganda has made it okay to kill homosexuality, homosexuals. Now, the law moves on and says, well, if you're an organization and knowingly promote homosexuality, you'll be fined 1 billion Uganda shillings. Now, some of these organizations that have been doing this yet hiding under this now know that our turn we shall have to pay this fine. Then it goes on to say, if you're an entity, or if your premises, your house, or your hotel, and you knowingly know and promote and allow this place to be used for this act of homosexuality, you go to jail for 7 years. Now, when they look at my premises knowingly, and the word is knowingly, I know people come, do this act, then they're, if, so when you look at what they're saying, this is inhuman, this is against human rights, the death penalty is against, but is a maximum. So yesterday, there's a statement actually that was released by UNAIDS. I think the executive director is Honorable Winnie Byanyima, if I remember very well, and PEPFAR. Now PEPFAR, this is the US Presidential Emergency Plan for HIV/AIDS Relief. And these two bodies have been doing very, very much in terms of supporting treatment of persons with HIV/AIDS. That's why His Excellency, in his tweet, when he talks about the 1.2, because statistics indicate that we have 1.2 people living with HIV/AIDS. And many of these are on drugs, where the money is about 900 million, 900 billion actually that come into this area every year. So now they know that when we touch this, maybe we shall let Ugandans reverse their decisions, because aid that we give to them, there's a saying that he who pays the piper determines the tune, that maybe that will work. But having seen this tweet by our president, I'm so much believing, I'm so much hopeful that even maybe, you know, court is court and law is law, that this time around we stand for what is ours and will not sell our souls to the devil because of monies. Yeah. Because this law is not only for us present today, it is for those coming after us and those that are coming after those that come after us. Yeah. To regulate. And I loved the words of Asumani Wasairu, who said, if they don't, maybe why don't we try our brothers here, Arab world, and tell them, brethren, this is the problem we are having, because we cannot trade the future of our kids, other generations, over something that is not ours because we need money.
Well, absolutely, because we are looking at the long-term effects of this, and this is majorly helpful for Ugandans. But also we have to acknowledge the fact that we like the bilateral relations that we have created with other countries, but that should also not come with challenges that threaten our livelihoods here. Now, we have also seen the fact that the Speaker of Parliament, if what is being talked about is true, that her visas have been cancelled so far, and of course the statements from President Joe Biden that we read earlier, it also gives us an understanding of what to look out for now.
Actually, that was confirmed by Honorable Asumani Wasairu. Yesterday during a press conference, he presented the document that talks about that, and for him he's saying it wasn't only the Speaker of Parliament. Why don't you also look at other MPs, apart from, I think, two, Fox Odoy and the other, and why don't you even look at the President? He was a bit extreme, but he said no, because it wasn't only the Speaker who presided over this.
So we could actually be seeing most of this happening, and that is where it's kind of concerning. And I want to bring in Felix here. We're looking at all these reactions, but also what the act entails. Because a lot of Ugandans are just going to jump on the wagon of, you know, this could affect us, and you know how the people who travel most often to the US, we have a huge community there in the United States. So I think a lot of people might also be concerned, but we want to understand how these reactions are coming up, and should that be something that, you know, concerns us at this point?
Well, one thing we must look at far than just the excitement of what's happening, the repercussions, not forgetting that our choice to legislate is normally backed up by 2 or 3 things. 1, curing a mischief. two, anticipation or need, but the third one also could be for political reasons. And this we have seen in various laws. For this particular one was two things that really come out evidently. One, political reasons, and definitely a cure of a mischief. Truth be told, many African communities do not relate with the act of homosexuality. And in fact, just so you know, over 30 countries actually in Africa, some of them we can mention, but a few, looking at countries like Lesotho, Ghana, Eritrea, Ethiopia, Kenya here, Burundi, you look at countries like Namibia, Botswana, Zimbabwe, all of them, they have these laws. So, one, this is not a new creation, it's not a creation of Uganda, just so we know. But second, I can tell you without fear of doubt that this that was done, everyone that was part of it knew the repercussions. It is not news that the speaker's visas have been cancelled. It doesn't form any part of news. And not only her, many other people's visas are going to be cancelled. It's just probably, it was just, this, it was a repulse act by these institutions, but which is not defendable. Because you see, you cannot talk about human rights in one aspect and abuse it in the other aspect. This is an argument I think they have also failed to understand. What is the relationship between limiting people's rights to move anywhere in the world as long as they qualify vis-a-vis passing of the law? Many Ugandans are going to suffer at the service of this law. That's a matter of the fact. But the big question also to our political heads, what are you willing to lose? Because this is the evaluation. It's about putting all this on a measuring scale. What are we willing to lose as a country, as individuals, for this that we are doing? For example, the simple statistics you're giving out about HIV/AIDS and the beneficiaries. Look at the AIDS, malaria and what. Are we willing to lose that for this law? You see, as I've always said, sometimes it's not good to sensationalize some discussions. Being emotional doesn't help, and this is what we have seen majorly about such laws. When it comes to issues of succession, when it comes to marriage and divorce laws, people just want to be emotional. When it comes to homosexuality laws, and that's when people lose their understanding and judgment. Truth be told, this is not a subject we are well conversant with major, and I think by far Asia and Africa are the countries that are struggling with this habit and practice of homosexuality. Okay? Now, that also means that we need to take time and understand it. Certain provisions in this act now are very extreme. For example, when you look at some of these acts against children, you see people have been playing with this matter in Uganda. They've been playing, but I think there's one thing that is lacking in this law was what happens to people who, because you've seen what has been on social media, people are falsifying the stage work. You've been seeing pastor who, pastor what, pastor who, but all these, it had become a way of making money for some people. In fact, the number of people who have gotten settlement and visas are more than the people who have lost them through this anti-homosexuality, and which is the case that is going to happen. They have also given another pass to many Ugandans to settle in those other abroad countries. But for me, by and large, we must accept that Uganda is a growing country in terms of jurisprudence. We have been puddling on very many colonial laws. Some of the few laws that we have enacted as a country that are directly about the concerns of Uganda, this is one of them. Many of them are just us peddling and playing in colonial laws. If you look at, and starting from some of the most important laws, you could that cross as far as the penal code, you go to the Contract Act, you go to all these other statutory instruments. They are reflections of what the white man wanted. This I think is one of the few laws that reflects what Ugandans probably want. But then the big question is, takes us back to what I said earlier, what are we willing to lose? Can we sustain the fight we have ushered ourselves into? Are we sure that not very soon we shall see an application of appeal, or are we sure we can sustain this fight, or it is a moment happiness? Truth be told, and you see, if we ask, what if we cause evaluation? Because, as I've told you, we must desist from being emotional and sensational legislators. I've seen all Ugandans, people are coming out to congratulate the president and what, and the speaker and what. But is that enough? Let's talk about enforcement. And the effects of this law. In as much as it has the good, it also has the challenges that are coming with it. Some of them you have mentioned. Some of them you have mentioned. But there are very many others which are just also we are yet to see. So it's for me, I think up to this point, it's a sweet sour pill for us, and we don't have much reason to be excited about it until we are sure that we can fully implement it. Knowing also the systems. For example, there's a challenge of concealment for such offenses. Okay, what are the avenues you have put in place to make sure that people are able, because one, this kind of practice is very shameful, let me put it that way. People are afraid of, even those who have been victims today are not how many of them are willing to go out and be in court. So we have challenges that are coming with the law. But if you ask me spot on, whether it is a good or bad law, honestly speaking, we no longer live in isolation of the international community. And that's I think sometimes that's the mistake we make when we are sensational and emotional. Uganda cannot live alone from the global community. This that we have done, we must find ways, and which we should have thought of before we enacted this law, not now to think about them. We must agree that we are challenged with some of what we call incapacitated in terms of finances and solutions for our own problems. And this is what every other person is saying. People have misquoted very many leaders like the Honorable Winnie Byanyima. That's the reality that people don't want to hear, that we cannot take care of ourselves.
And she actually did come up to say something about this, talking about the fact that we are now jeopardizing the contribution from
Actually, I think, let me read
UN.
that very fast. I was seeing here, she said Uganda's progress on its HIV response is now in grave jeopardy. The Anti-Homosexuality Act 2023 will obstruct health education and the outreach that can help end HIV/AIDS as a public health threat. The stigma and discrimination associated with the passage of the Act has already led to reduced access to prevention as well as treatment services. It was a joint statement by the leader of the Global Fund, Peter Sanders, UNAIDS, Winnie Byanyima, and PEPFAR on Uganda's Anti-Homosexuality Act 2023.
So this is exactly what we're talking about, Felix, when you talk about, did we think about the alternatives? This is something that we might downplay and think, okay, even if we lose this aid, but we haven't seen countries step up in the regard of fighting HIV in Uganda here. We haven't seen that step up. So can we are there ways we can actually deal with this problem? Because we want to understand whether we are now looking out for, especially like you said, a lot of Asian countries have been there before with this law. Are we expecting that some people will step up and cover this gap, or ourselves are going to find a way out?
Well, for me, I want to differ a bit. Allow me. I believe that we cannot live in isolation, or we cannot live on an island as Uganda. But you see, when you talk about global relations, the world today has so many alternatives. One,
Does
we've
it?
been getting... Wait,
Does it?
Wait, I want to give examples. Maybe this may be in terms of military hardware, where we had some, at one time, one country that felt it could put stringent ties. We went somewhere else, you know? We may not get as much as what we've been getting from US and all that. But you see, the global relations don't mean USA or UK. It's not that.
You know,
and second, when our president says, yes, this may be a bitter pill, but it may help us end the parasitic way of looking at things all the time. So we believe these will have a bite and a pinch on us, but like many countries have done it, it's not only Uganda that is the first country to do it. And don't think we are the first to receive such.
And we're
because what is happening,
what is
happening today is that
the only question is,
just a minute, Molen.
Where do we get? We appreciate that we are not the first people to do this. Now our concern is we are the ones losing out on some of this funding. What is our plan B there?
First, I want to let you know that other countries, I think you remember what was happening in Kenya. Our brothers are here, Rwanda also planning to. So this is like, one, it's sending a message that the other countries within the region that are also planning to have the same bill. For example, we had this even Kenya MPs were starting the same thing over the same law, pushing for the same thing on homosexuality. Now, I'm telling you, those that feel they are the custodians when it comes to homosexuality.
You know, Robert, I think we are having a different
that's why I told you I beg to differ. I don't want to so much feel that, you know, because we have this law, we are not self-sustaining.
No, what we are talking about is the reality. You may want to hide yourself in what we call, you see, and this is the sad bit. This can be good to massage your ego as a country and hide your heads into what we call cheap massage of thinking that we are now, but at the end of the day, your people are going to die. And this is what our discussion should be towards. Now that we have done this, how do we solve the problems we are left with? One, if we have done this, can we then deal with the biting corruption in this country? So we save that money. These are the discussions leaders don't want to get into. You know, and that's why I talk about, you're sensationalizing this discussion and making it emotional. When you pass the law, you're celebrating being a man who can't buy food at home. It is useless. Celebrate that with Komauni na Kavera. But our politicians can't carry Kavera home, but they're celebrating because they are men. It is good. Now the law has been passed. How do we close these gaps? Don't you want, let's discuss how 1.2 million going to survive. And it is sad, even in the tweet of the president, we didn't get a solution. It was only about the signing of the bill. And many of them, they don't have the answers. Because that's why no one is talking about it. Because someone should have come and said, in the alternative, this is not going to be able, but we have found this. Because the repercussion to the signing of the law was known from the word go. Because the people who are castigators of these homosexuality acts have been consistent. That you do this, we cut this arm. You know what we are going into. What have we done? For us, that's the question. And the bill issue now is done. We celebrate it, and then
what after?
Are we going? Should we be prepared to bury our people, our relatives? Are you saying that we are going? Let's find a solution. There's no need to celebrate it anymore. What is the way forward? Let's look at these gaps. That we are losing money. Government is spending money, so much money in ABCD. How do we reduce?
Administration.
Absolutely. Political administration. Okay? Let's talk about, because these now are the next points of discussion. How I wish the bitterness we bring out on homosexual, we bring it out on other homosexual acts that manifest in various ways. For example, if someone asked you, today the corruption in Uganda, the danger of homosexuality and corruption, which is worse? If you're being a honest Ugandan and happy one as you've been, which is worse, homosexuality and corruption in Uganda? Which has caught the worst? Which has affected Ugandans more, homosexuality and corruption?
Corruption has affected.
So why don't we have the same bitter discussion?
Handling
this
corruption.
Is what I'm saying. That, you see, it is useless for you to, in Bugu Bugu, we are excited about a fire that is going to burn out very soon. Let us actually keep the fire burning. And this is the remedy. As we have touched this thing of homosexuality, let us touch this other homosexuality manifestations, stealing of money, poor work delivery, public service, you know, this ghost work. All these are the things. Because if we can cover these gaps, we can solve the lacuna that is being left to us.
Definitely.
You get the point. And this is what the Arab countries are doing. You people don't want to say. There's no corruption in the Arab countries.
Where we want to run to as an alternative.
About sente because you steal it. You don't steal money from another. The Muslim people are not like you pagans. For them, they don't believe in theft. There are no corruption cases in Arab countries. And even you want to partner with them, they cannot give you money and you go and you build luxurious homes. Actually, they can't give you money. And this is for them actually part of their religion. They can't give money for one person so that the rest can suffer. These convoys you're driving of one person has over 20 cars and they are just probably a permanent secretary. An Arab can't give you money to enjoy. It is only the US and UK who can give you such money. Because they know also they are using it to pass their
own agendas.
If you want this thing, excitement you're having is as good as useless. Until you can show us that you can solve Ugandan problems. And this is what these other people are saying, the Vyanyimas, the people who have gone to court, that you're being deceitful, you're not being real. You want with one hand, then the other hand is in the basket. Let's be real as Ugandans. His Excellency signed the law, but there's a lot to be done if you want this law to make sense. Actually, if you don't do those things, we are going to be burying brothers and sisters. Malaria is going to, how many people die because of malaria? Let's not now joking about, as I've asked you a question, which is more dangerous?
Corruption or homosexuality?
And homosexuality. And in terms of statistics, what is the effect of homosexuality on socio-economic development?
We are ready, we shall cross the bridge when we get there.
Whether you're naked or clothed.
We shall cross the bridge, but see, what we are aiming at protecting...
And that brings in repercussions that we are trying to harmonize. The repercussions of that.
We cannot make national decisions on sentiments and emotions. But let's be honest. Let's not, this is bad, no one wants, but, and as we have signed, can we also look the other way?
And I'm very sure,
can we look the other way?
We must say, Felix, we may not have had prior arrangements or focused so much into the repercussions. But we first said we have a snake in the house, let's first deal with it. That will come after, because definitely, I know our country, we're not going to see people dying left, center. There has to be a way. But the first thing, and what was Major was saying, no, this is an enemy that is eating this generation, the next generation, another generation.
I think there is emotions here as well. I'm seeing the emotions that are coming in.
I'm not saying this is about emotion, being emotional, but what I'm looking at is, we know there are repercussions, and we are going to face them. Of course, this is reality. There will be sanctions, this and that. But we cannot say that let's this be because
the way forward, Robert?
We have these challenges. Well, we've crossed the bridge.
That's the way forward. You can
we are there. Now we are going to see
Robert,
what we prioritize, how we raise this money. No, it is, now we are going to see how do we, because we don't know the magnitude of these sanctions. What more is still coming? And one thing I can tell you for bilateral relations, even we don't know if some of these will be reconsidered. But when we get there, of course, as a country, we must find ways of raising money to support our brothers and sisters living with HIV/AIDS, the malaria program, all these. But we can't say that when we anticipate the danger ahead of us, let's not go there. Yet it's our way to go.
No one talked about.
Absolutely.
No one talked about
we want to look
there.
at this deeply, and obviously looking at now how do we find that balance. But we also have to remember that we have partnered with other countries that we might boost our relations with, for example, China. But this is one country that, for them, they will give you the support that you need, but they will want something in return. And I was listening to someone recently who was saying, China, these are like money lenders. They will give you the support, but once you fail somewhere, somehow, they will take it back. It's no wonder we had recently, in the past, the rumor of Entebbe being turned into some other name because they were threatening on the payments or whatever. So we could use such an example. While we look at having partners elsewhere, these are not partners that are just coming in, like Felix put it, like the US and the UK. For them, they will do regardless. Yeah, and so we want to just look at, as a country, as Uganda, we must be prepared to have these discussions, and we shouldn't shy away from how do we look at the solutions.
Molen and Robert, when you desire to buy a car, what do you buy first? Do you start with the tires or actually the car? Or it is the end doesn't justify the means? we can't say we are going to deal with it when we are at it.
Apparently.
You can't say us, okay?
First deposit the money, first pay, and then you look at the car.
Know, when you said the solutions should have come before, and these are the engagements we have wanted to have before. And
we do have some of our viewers also coming in with some of the comments talking about the fact that Uganda is an independent country. However, these people should continue funding, because this is funding HIV victims. Because the person seems to be thinking, you are not sending this money for government to eat or something, but you're fighting a disease here.
These guys were for them clear why they were funding, and they are still clear. They were giving you this money not because you deserve it, because you are holding some things. And by the way, just so you know, this is the first time we are at it. You remember the first time we were even forced to take back this law. We are supposed to make it illegal because of the pressure then.
That have later, there are countries that did have this and later cancelled.
Yes, because of the pressure. And it is just getting started. Because you're only looking at, for you, issues of people with HIV, but there are also issues of security. Between you and me, you know the contribution of some states in the region in terms of security. I think there's a lot we need to discuss, to harmonize. Now that the law is, but we need to harmonize some of these things. And Ugandans may not seem to see it, but we have to harmonize. Because you're going to see, you know what I'm talking about the political instability. You know these things. These countries are very intentional about promoting these things. For whatever reasons they have, God knows. So we must also be steadfast about how we handle some. Actually, other countries have been smart. Most of the countries in Africa, for them, did hide this under the penal code, not decided enacting a particular law to deal with. Most of them have dealt with the penal code. They make an amendment and put it somewhere there. And but for us, we had to come out. Nevertheless, we are already there.
We're already there. We've crossed the bridge.
Turning back.
We've crossed the bridge. We hope we don't turn back.
Someone here is saying that most of these countries are hiding behind donations, but as a country, we might lose the yes, but is it bad than LGBTQ? Is it that bad? I think the person wants to weigh in on what is worse, losing the aid or, keeping the homosexuality in the country. And this is, I think, where our discussion is also best, because we have agreed that, yes, this is a law now, and we will face the repercussions. But as we move to conclude here, we want to have a way forward as a country. What are some of the things that we can look at and close the gaps that we are now, that are opening up? And this is just the first step. The law was put yesterday, and we're already seeing statements come through. So meaning that there are gaps that are actually still widening. So how do we close the gap here? And I'll start with you, Felix.
Well, first and foremost, I want to be, for me, categorically straight, that I think we are not ready for this law. We were not ready for the law. We have rushed it for purposes of sentiment and sensations, and nevertheless it is needed. But whether we are ready in terms of preparing the fallback position for all this that we are yet to lose, that's one. Secondly, we need to deal with other biting problems in Uganda, like we want to deal with this act. And I can give you case in point is the corruption. It can be a cure to our fears of cutting this sponsorship and whatever. It can be a best cure. Third and last from me is that Uganda needs to start learning a culture of survival than dependency. Actually, it is unfortunate the president used the word parasite, but we are also parasites. Ugandans are parasites and have been parasites for the longest time. It is high time we start feeding on our own blood than feeding on other people's. So as it goes, we are also parasites. Because we cannot be here and our biggest fear is cutting donation. That means, what kind of country are we? We must create a mechanism of solving our own problems as a state. We must build structures. This is now the test that goes to government. Actually, at the point of signing this law, His Excellency authored a policy. He opened up a chapter that the country needs to build structures. You know, when you remember when those times when you were asking you to leave home after campus, some of you who did, those who are nomading, this is the time for us now to leave home. Campus is done, you're going into the world. So Uganda is going into the world. It must make these 1.2 people survive. Whatever. Now it needs to survive in terms of socio-economic, political, social-political, social-religious. Kazimba last time said, you remember, the Archbishop, about how do we survive? Because that's the biggest fear for everyone. So now you've chosen this path, prepare for the repercussions.
Well, that's quite an interesting one when you look at the path that we are taking, but also, Robert, as we go on to conclude, let me just read some of the comments that are coming in. Someone here is saying, we as Uganda cannot take our culture and morals in exchange of the sweet poison aid. And of course, someone else here comes in to say, human rights abuse has been happening in Uganda all along. Why didn't America withdraw their support then? Why choose this particular topic and encompass it around human rights? And someone else is saying this has showed that Uganda is independent. African countries have to unite in order to overcome the Western pressure. He's talking about unity among the African countries. And someone adds to what Robert was saying, we shall cross the bridge when we reach there. Remember, every solution, there is a solution to every problem. Well, more coming in. Someone talks about our president has done good to show foreigners that in Uganda there is no gap for homosexuality, and stands by that. And also someone else saying, good morning team, Uganda is a country which can service itself, and it's not only American and other countries which can help Uganda, and says we should change even not to dwell on others but dwell on ourselves. And that is Mike Arnold right there, also giving in his comments. And someone else also continues, a lot of messages coming in through, Africans should start to learn to solve their own problems. But you cannot say that let's let homosexuality continue because we need these donations. That is something that is, otherwise problems will not end. Well, as we have more of this come through, Robert, what is your concluding take on this, especially when we're looking at a way forward?
One thing I've learned, that wherever you're in a hard situation, humanity and reasoning come in and you'll get to know your priorities right. This is a time for government to get to know their priorities right. Because what we are scared of is not that war is coming to us. It is about money. So how do we limit corruption and we save? How do we get our priorities right? That we may not need these so many fleets, may not need these so many political administration and all that, so that we can have monies to fund this. So it is a time to know our priorities right. It is a time to close all gaps of wastages and theft of money, so that we can inject it in this field. I stand with His Excellency, I stand with all Ugandans to say we are not going to bow down. No. We are not going to worship the devil. We are not going to sell or trade our souls to the devil because of aid. We shall fight this habit of being parasites and believing that someone, we shall find a way where there is a will, there is a way, but you're not going to lose generations. You're not going to get heavenly curses because of homosexuality. And it beats me. You tell people polygamy is wrong, homosexuality is right. You do this. What is this that is caused? Like one of the people said, if it's a violation of human rights, fellow Ugandans, we've heard what they call human rights violations. When were these big sanctions unto us? Then I hope and pray that this time around there is no victory through any kind of court here in Uganda.
Well, we choose to fight, and if you take on a fight, you should be ready to have your strength as well to, you know, get into the other side and make sure that you win. And someone else also did say that a country ceases to be a country if its legislature is being bullied by others. Well, at that we also will be leaving it at that.
Their economies, and
we know that this conversation could continue all the way, but we will probably have more time to look more into what this means. And of course, there are other bills that were also put into law that we need to have a discussion about. But leaving it at that now, we want to look at some of the headlines in the papers that are coming forth across East Africa. We'll start with the Daily Nation, looking at the big one right there. A fund for every president, then loss of billions. Wow. They give you quotations right there and how much money that was put across. Now, also in the Daily Nation for today, media owners warn they would lose 2 billion shillings if finance bill is passed. That is also a big story right there. CIA MCAs vote 38-1 to kick out deputy governor. Oh, that is quite an interesting one. Extreme weather to worsen Kenya's food crisis, says the UN. And Raila meets MPs as Kenya Kwanza moves to save talks. As Mio demands right there, they also put across what that means. But crossing over onto the Citizen, government speaks out on the new agricultural trade rules. They also give you more on national exhibition. The trade expects more DITF participation and also more stories in business right there. VP warns council over misuse of funds, and that is also right there for you in today's Citizen. Act want expeditious distribution of fertilizer, groundwork set for universal identity cards. That is in today's Citizen. Well, we'll be going in for a short break. When we get back, we'll look at the traffic on the road, and also we'll take you through a weather update on what the country is looking like right now. And we'll also look at the forecast for today. For now, we'll take a short break. Good morning.
So when you pay your taxes, you are investing in the future of Uganda.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda.
Chebagala ogamba nti sente URA ezetukunganyamu zezimala okukola ebintu bino byonna, enguudo, amasomero ebye n'ebintu ebirala. Mzee, aba basajja basoza sente nyingi nnyo. Olaba boda boda. Banzake miliyoni aga.
Miliyoni ana.
Miliyoni ana zo boda.
Oza tundu okutunze mmere wa restaurant.
Nyabo, siko wa restaurant. Muchere, nyama bishi. Boba miliyoni nkaga.
Echi?
Lori kati ataniza alina kawushimbe na kabala. Mzee, kaza yake gofude mufi. Chichi?
Leka nawo. Lekera okulimba. URA era omusolo gwe bayita presumptive tax. Oba guyita omusolo ogwafa oba business obutono obuyingiza okuva ku miliyoni 10 mpaka ku 15 obutasukkawo omwaka.
Kati olonze banategera bati nyingiza yange.
Ate oba olina okukuuma ebitabo byonna byonna ebikwata ku business yo. Ate ekyangu kwe kugenda gwe kennyini n'obensooka n'obatwalira ebitabo bino ku ofiisi zaabwe eza URA ezikuli okumpi. Awo ne babeera nga bagerekera omusolo omutuufu.
Ekitegeeza bali olina kwetega beetege.
aha kyekyo bwe beeteke bweteze osirike era bwe ate bakulimba nnyo kubanga ate mu ababooda mulina sasula emitwalo ejja omwaka
gwesebo obadde oyogera ebigambo nga babikunyumiza bunyumiza n'otulimba abantu abakulu wammataka kutunyonnyole
URA ekujjukiza okusasula omusolo gwo ogwa presumptive tax. Guno gwe musolo ogusasulwa abo abaddukanya bizinesi entono era gusinziira ku nnyingiza ya bizinesi yo nga gusasulwa omulundi gumu buli mwaka gw'ebyensimbi. Genda mu ssimu yo onyige kamunyenye 285 kadaala oba sasula ng'okozesa mobile money oba mu bank oba kozesa ba mobile agents. Uganda Revenue Authority, tukulaakulanyize wamu Uganda.
When you talk about our motherland Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, you cannot fail to smile because of the smile that fills the faces of the citizens. Our nice good weather and nature that sustains us all, that enables us all to continue each in their own way because we are all different even according to each individual's work. But what joins us to become one person is the sweetness from the flavored drink Alleluia Jingati drink and Alleluia Tamarind drink. The flavor that quenches your thirst while at the same time treating and healing your body because it is 100% natural. Enjoy the drink that has got the tamarind juice in it. Made by Alleluia Reflexology, Healthy Solutions and Nutritional Research Center Limited. Get yourself a bottle of Alleluia from all shops around.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
Well, good morning, Uganda. We're looking at the traffic update for this morning. We'll be looking at some of the roads connecting, that is from the side of Kampala Northern Bypass, and looking at how you can navigate that if you're joining into town. We're looking at areas of, that is from Bwaise, Kalere side. We're looking at a little bit of traffic that is building up across Bwaise as you cross over from the Northern Bypass. That's where we have a bit of traffic that is right onto Sao Paulo Kagwa Road. Do expect that that will be there and does stretch up to that is the Mugazi Road right there. That's where you have intense traffic indicated by the red lines over there. And also you look at Bombo Road itself as well, leaving the roundabout from Bwaise, you do have a bit of traffic also over there, and that does continue for a few distances. It clears, but then again it looks like that goes all the way up to the junction right there and the roundabout connecting onto Gayaza Road. Now Gayaza Road, leaving Kalere, you do have a bit of clear traffic right there from that is from the Northern Bypass, but then again also as you head towards that roundabout where you're meeting Bombo Road and Gayaza Road, that's where we have a bit of traffic. And that continues all the way. If you look at continuing the upper side of Binaisa Road, you do have intense traffic right there indicated by the red lines. That is one that you might need to be quite aware of. Otherwise, Bombo Road looks okay for this morning right from that roundabout, and that is indicated by the green lines right there. But also looking at the upper side from the area of Mulago side, Dwalilo Road, that looks to have a bit of traffic, and that is indicated by the red lines right there. So that is one that you might need to be aware of as well. And it goes all the way as well to the roundabout. Now you also look at the one coming in from Chira side. You also have a bit of traffic building up over there. So that is one that you might as well need to be aware of. Continuing with Binaisa Road, you have a little bit of traffic as well that is coming into town, but then again, those living in town, it looks to be quite okay. That joins through Kira Road, joining into Wandegea, you also have a bit of traffic, but then again, the upper side, if you're continuing with Yusufure as well, that could help you. Also, if you're connecting to the Kampala Jinja Highway, that looks to be quite clear for this morning. But if you're continuing to town, using Haji Musa Kalule Road, you also have a bit of traffic from the roundabout. It does clear as well as you join into Bombo Road. You also have a bit of traffic just on a small distance as you continue with Bombo Road, but then again it also gets clear as you head into town, and that connects all the way to Kampala Road. There is a bit of traffic again that does build up as you head mostly towards the junction on Queen's Lane right there, but then again it also clears. Some of the upper detours that you could take that have clear traffic this morning, Lumumba Avenue has a clear traffic, also the upper side of Nakasero Road. That is one that you could also consider to use this morning, which has a bit of clearance in terms of traffic. All the way as well for Lumumba Avenue and Nakasero Road, you do have clear traffic. It does lead into that roundabout that is at Speak Road. That is where you again start to have a little bit of traffic. So as you join onto the roundabout from Nakasero Road, you have traffic there. Also Lumumba Avenue, as you join into the roundabout, you have a little bit of traffic, but then away from that, that does clear. Also the downer roads, looking at the ones leading into the city square, you do have a bit of clear traffic over there. That of course leads onto the roundabout that is around Nile Avenue, which also has clear traffic for this morning. It does also lead all the way up to the Kampala Jinja Highway. You do have clear traffic right there through Nile Avenue. Away from that, we'll also look at how the weather is looking like for this morning. We'll tap from satellites. We already have rainy conditions that is across northwestern Uganda, parts of Yumbe, Arua. We are seeing some of those starting to build up, and that is indicated by the red and yellow colors right there on the map. That's the system that we are keeping an eye on. It did start in earlier, that is through the northwestern side. Looks like it is moving westwards, but we also have more of the clouds that are still building up over the area, so meaning that we could still be looking at wet weather activities for this morning. We also have another one that is forming across that is parts of Lake Victoria Basin. That did bring in rains, a little bit of rains towards areas of central Lake Victoria Basin, even parts of Kampala, Wakiso as well, Mukono. But looks like most of those have started to clear, although we still have a bit of clouds over the area. But we do expect that might redevelop a little bit later on, bringing in more rains across the area. And we're also looking at a westward movement, so meaning that much of central or the eastern part of central could be having a little bit of rains also later on as the morning progresses, even crossing over into the afternoon. We're looking at eastern Uganda as well. We're seeing some developments also towards areas of Palisa, Kamuli, a lot of clouds starting to build up over there. Also towards eastern Central, where we have Nakasongola, towards areas of Luwero as well. Could be looking at a development in wet weather activities for today, and that also leads into Midwestern Uganda, where we are already seeing cloudy weather indicated by the white colors right there on the map, meaning that we could have a bit of rains come through for today. Otherwise, quite a clear and sunny morning over the northern part of the country. We're also looking at the northeastern, that is the Karamoja region. That is where we have lots of sun for this morning. We're also looking at the Elgon area, Mbale, Bududa. That whole area is having mostly sunny weather for this morning. The southwestern part as well, that is Mbara, Kabale Highlands, Kisoro. We're starting off quite sunny, also getting a little bit of warmth over there. Looks like temperatures are actually warming up quite swiftly for most areas, especially for the southern sector. But we'll expect that we'll have more developments in rains, especially for the western stretch as well as parts of central. As the day progresses, we might be having more of those also come through. We'll leave it at that. We will be having Good Morning Uganda agenda that will come in right after this. Then later than that, we'll also be looking at the sports highlights, after which we'll take you through Good Morning Uganda Extra. My name is Modern Kenyana. I want to wish you a nice day.
This is Good Morning Uganda. This is Good Morning Uganda.
This is the University of Africa. On the streets, you get your real education. Here, everybody has a degree of something. But the most important qualification is imagination. Her reason to imagine is slay. His reason is to be the goat. Theirs is to take the beat and make it lit. They want to test edgy till it is fire. Their reason for imagination is to add riz in style. Her reason to imagine is finesse. And hers is to find what's new and bussin'. So no matter what your situation, just use your imagination.
Juko. Yo. What you check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the parish development model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, it is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a poultry project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
Gatawo with MTN Momo Advance. Momo Advance tops up your Momo to complete your transactions. Dial *165*5*3# to apply. MTN Momo Advance is always available when you need it.
The Magical Egypt Tour 2023 is here. A heavenly miracle waiting across the natural and divine attractions of Egypt, such as Cairo, Giza Pyramids, Saqqara, Memphis, and many more that will offer the gift of a lifetime. The chance to unlock all of the hidden powers of mind and soul, gain the enlightenment of the past and the future, and develop the power of healing. Departure will be Friday 16th up to 23rd June 2023. Basic package starting at $1,200, 8 days and 7 nights. To register, come to Gotove Tours and Travel at Nalkwego Complex Suta, UG's Extender, George Street, Nakasero, or call +256 758 530 059 or +256 784 568 392 or WhatsApp +256 782 556 078. Only few slots are left. Powered by UBC Television.
So when you pay your taxes, you are investing in the future of Uganda.
Uganda Revenue Authority. Developing Uganda.
Kyebagala okugamba nti sente URA ezitukuŋŋaanyamu ze zimala okukola ebintu bino byonna, enguudo, amasomero n'ebintu ebirala. Muzeeyi, abo abasajja basolooza sente nnyingi nnyo. Olaba nti bodaboda banzako miliyoni aga.
Miliyoni 4?
Miliyoni 4 nze wa boda.
Olowooza atunda okutunza emmere wa restaurant.
Nyabo, sigo wa restaurant. Muceere, nyama bisi. Bw'oba miliyoni 6.
Eki?
Lero kati ataniza alina kawushimbe n'akabaala. Muzeeyi, kati ate gw'ofudde bufi. Kiki?
Leka naawe. Lekerawo okulimba. URA era omusolo gwe bayita presumptive tax. Oba guyita omusolo ogwafa oba business obutono obuyingiza okuva ku miliyoni 10 mpaka ku 15 obutasukkawo omwaka.
Kati olonze banategeera bati nyingiza yange.
Anti oba olina okukuuma ebitabo byonna byonna ebikwata ku bizinensi yo. Ate ekyangu kwe kugenda gwe kennyini n'oba ensooka n'obatwalira ebitabo bino ku ofiisi zaabwe eza URA ezikuli okumpi. Awo ne babeera nga bagerekera omusolo omutuufu.
Ekitegeeza bali olina kwetega beetege.
aha kyekyo bwe beeteke bweteze osirike era bwe ate bakulimba nnyo kubanga ate mu ababoda mulina sasula emitwalo ejja omwaka
gwessebu obwedde oyogera ebigambo nga babikunyumiza bunyumiza n'otulimba abantu abakulu wammataka kutunyonnyole
URA ekujjukiza okusasula omusolo gwo ogwa presumptive tax. Guno gwe musolo ogusasulwa abo abaddukanya bizinesi entono era gusinziira ku nnyingiza ya bizinesi yo nga gusasulwa omulundi gumu buli mwaka gw'ebyensimbi. Genda mu ssimu yo onyige kamunyenye 285 kadaala oba sasula ng'okozesa mobile money oba mu bank oba kozesa ba mobile agents. Uganda Revenue Authority, tukulaakulanyize wamu Uganda.
Glow as you are with the new Spark 10 series smartphone from Airtel in partnership with Tecno. Own the timelines with picture-perfect selfies using the 32-megapixel selfie camera, 256GB storage, G88 gaming processor.
The Spark 10 smartphone comes with free 3GB from Airtel, so you can stay connected to a world of possibilities. Dial *100*5# to enjoy free data.
Airtel, a reason to imagine.
In partnership with Tecno. Stop at nothing.
Live from Now Avenue in UBC Studios. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning and thank you so much for being with us on UBC TV. Welcome to Good Morning Uganda Agenda. Now, this is a time where we usually have a guest and we discuss issues of national concern. Now, what is among the so many issues of national concern is the 3rd June, which happens to be Uganda Matters Day. And this is when we expect so many people. Every year the numbers are increasing at Namugongo Matters shrines, both the Catholics and the Anglicans. Now, here police yesterday issued the traffic guidelines that are going to be followed for people who are going to be going to Namugongo, but also even residents there, because some of these include where some roads will completely be cut off, others will be one way, others will only be used by people with stickers. And joining me is Rogers Kawuma Nsereko, who happens to be the traffic commandant for Kampala Metropolitan. A lovely morning to you, Afande, and welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mr. Kirabo, and good morning, viewers of UBC.
Now, to begin with, briefly give us a general picture of how the traffic is going to be flowing and when is this taking effect?
All right, thank you very much. On the 3rd of June, we are celebrating our Uganda Matters. And that is a day that is quite busy. It is a very, very hectic day because of the numbers of people who are attracted by this event. Every year has its unique issues because I've worked in Namugongo for quite some time now. And we anticipate numbers to be growing all the time, and indeed they are growing. We had some 2 years off and we were not having that event at Namugongo. But since it opened, again, the numbers have kept on increasing because last year we had this event and there were really big numbers, and this year it is even expected to attract bigger numbers. So as such, we have a traffic challenge because, as you know, we have that space is congested. It is in a trading center. There are so many residents who live there. There's a lot of business going on there, which is even growing when this event comes up, because so many people now flock to make some good money there during this season. So as such, we as traffic, we put some traffic management plan to ensure that people move smoothly, although not as fast as they would want, but at least they will be moving. And as such, we have planned that area beginning on the night, that is 2nd of June. It is 2nd of June at midnight. That is 3rd, as we are entering the 3rd of June. Midnight with this traffic plan is going to take place. Some of the roads are going to be diverted. They're going to become one-way. For example, Chireka to Chaliwajala Trading Center is going to be a one-way. We are cognizant of the fact that there are so many residents who sleep along that road. And we tried to minimize inconveniencing them. So it is one way from Chireka to Chaliwajala. Whoever wants to leave Chaliwajala to go to Chireka, he can only use Naria to slope down to the interchange, that big roundabout at Naria, Northern Bypass. And then he will make the turn to go to Chireka side. Otherwise, we don't expect anyone to drive from Chaliwajala to go to Chireka. From midnight, or rather from 3 a.m. on the 3rd. 3 a.m. on the 3rd. Traffic will now be flowing from Chireka to Chaliwajala and then sloping down to Naria up to the Northern Bypass. Even if you live in this distance between Chaliwajala and Naria, if you are a resident around that area, you will have to drive through the Northern Bypass, and then you join Chireka and then come through to Chaliwajala and then make that turn to stop down to get to your residence. So we don't expect any other traffic flow on the opposite direction. And then traffic from Kira Town Council, at the roundabout of Kira Town Council, will be allowed to flow along that road to Chaliwajala, but there's going to be a cut-off point at Semambo Road. We shall not be allowing any vehicular traffic coming from Chira Town Council side to access Chaliwajala, because now that point will be cut off. The Semambo Road will only have access for those people who will be having the VIP stickers. Okay? So all residents along that stretch of Chira to Chaliwajala will be able to access their residences, but they won't be allowed to access past Semambo Road. And then parking along that stretch is prohibited for the time when this operation is going on. You are expected to drive your car in your residence and park there, not leaving the cars on the road. Otherwise, we are going to impound all those cars that will be left on the roads. Because we have, remember, a terrorism threat, and sometimes people use cars as their hiding place for these bombs. So that's why we are discouraging people to from leaving their cars on the roads. Otherwise, we shall be impounding those cars, and then we shall get some good space for them, park them there, and then when the owner comes to claim for the car, he will be given a ticket on top of paying for the breakdown charges for towing his car.
Okay, now having given us that, let's also look at the stickers here. Who gets what sticker? And usually for different stickers, they have different routes.
Yeah. Yes. We have some 4 to 5 stickers.
Okay.
And then they are in different colors, of course, for purposes of identification and for ease of movement. The first sticker is a red sticker. It is for VIPs. And this now I'm talking about the Catholic side. They have red stickers, and these have parking at Namugongo Girls Boarding Primary School. That is for people with the red stickers. And their route is through Shireka to Chaliwajala Trading Center. And then they will proceed right ahead. They won't make that right turn to the shrines. They'll just go straight ahead. There's a small road there called Semamba Road, the one I mentioned about where we're going to put a cutoff point.
Yes.
Then they will have to make that right turn. We are going to deploy traffic there. They should not worry about this. They should just drive to that junction and then make that right turn. They'll be guided through, because now they have to enter Uganda Matters Secondary School at their back gate. And then as they enter, they again exit Uganda Matters Secondary School to join Namugongo Girls Boarding Primary School. That's where their parking space is. It is a play field, and it is big enough. It's going to accommodate some good number of cars there. Those are for VIPs. And then we have the organizers for the event, that is Ginger Diocese. They have also their special space at Uganda Matters Senior Secondary School, Namugongo. They have a volleyball pitch there. That is the space for the organizers. They also have their special stickers. They are cream and brown. And it is clearly indicated where their parking space is. And then we have service providers. There's purple stickers. And these are going to be valid until midnight of 2nd. Because we are not going to allow any service provider to access the venue after midnight on the 2nd. That is, as we enter the 3rd, midnight. So all cars for service providers are expected to have supplied whatever they are supplying to Namugongo Shrine by midnight. So that sticker, the purple sticker, expires at midnight. So on the 3rd, we don't expect any cars with purple stickers to come and access Namugongo. And then we have the green sticker, and that is for health providers, ambulances, and other health service providers. We request that these ones display their stickers properly on their cars for ease of movement and accessibility. These ones will be accessing all routes because, of course, for health issues, they don't select. So that's why for them, they have open entry to all routes to and from the venue. We shall not be prohibiting them. And then, is there a sticker? Okay, there's a sticker, a blue sticker. That is for foreign pilgrims, because you know this event also attracts so many foreigners. And they come in different vessels, buses, taxis. So these will be having that blue sticker. For them, they will be allowed to be dropped off at Chaliwajala Trading Center. And then their vehicles will have to go to Vienna College for parking. That is the arrangement we have so far. And then I forgot to mention that from Chaliwajala Trading Center to the Basilica and the Anglican site, that space is going to be blocked off from vehicular traffic. It is going to be a pedestrian walkway only, because we can't allow vehicles to mix up with it. Becomes a big mess. So we are trying to avoid that. And if you are intending to go to the Protestant side, you are advised to use Center side or Chove Road. There's a road called Chove Road via Buto. That road will lead you straight up to Namgongo Protestant side, right there. And then you'll have to make that right turn to go to the church parking space. There's what they call the church farm. There's a big space there where the Anglicans park their vehicles. Because of that challenge of space at the Anglican side, they don't usually want to put those VIP sticker arrangements because the space is not enough for so many. They usually accommodate those principals who are intending to go for that function. That could be the president, maybe the speaker, maybe the vice president, something of a sort. So for them, that space is usually used by the VIPs and the general parking space as well. So that is it for now, sir.
Now, looking at some of these diversions, do we have traffic officers? Because sometimes you've seen people who are aware that this is the route you're taking, but they don't know how to successfully get to the destination out of that, and you find there is uncalled for jam because someone is stranded, which way to go next, and all that. So how have you factored? Are we having deployments throughout these diversions? Because we can't assume that everyone who uses the normal highway still understands or will easily interpret well this map.
Absolutely. We have deployed properly for this event. There's no way we can put such a program and we don't deploy, because now people have to get this information rightly. All major junctions, all major feeder roads have been deployed, and we just only call upon the drivers to be very, very responsive and follow this program, because we don't want to pull ropes with anyone. You get people who will come and tell you, my residence is right there behind you. You get it. So therefore they want to pass here, and yet the program we put will tell you to have to make the round to come back to this place. You get it. So we just pray that everyone respects this plan, because we don't want to really inconvenience anyone, and we also don't want to be inconvenienced when we're doing this work.
Now also, let's look at another thing that is, I don't want to call them VIPs, because at least personally, I've seen you at one time trying to explain and tussle it out with those that feel they're VIPs but don't have stickers. And this causes a lot of jam. You said every Namugongo, every third June has unique factors. But for me, one of the outstanding factors has been those that, yes, some say they're devices, some, but they don't have these stickers. And you spend a lot of time while there would be a stuck in jam with stickers. So this time, how are you looking at handling that problem?
Thank you so very much for that concern. And, you know, it is really absurd that, yes, you might be important, yeah, but I want to believe that we should all be very, very simple. You get it? Because you might be important, but sometimes we don't know that, you know? Some of the officers won't know that this is so-and-so, this is so-and-so. You get it? So they will have to now consult and then call so-and-so and then call you to come and identify this person. You get it? So I would rather that if you don't have that sticker, you lie low, like an envelope, follow the other program, go and attend the function, and live in peace. Don't try to put your egos on the road and throw them around, and then, you know, you get it. So I want to believe that people will be very civil. Because in this event, yeah, there's a lot of work, and people get so tired, especially the officers who stand on the road from morning until when that event ends. You get it? So it will be very, very unfortunate that you engage these officers in such unnecessary hassles. You get it? So I want to pray that we don't get these cases, and also for people to respect the plan in place. If we say that Protestants use Tobe Road or Seta, Sonde side, don't again insist on coming late, and then you want to use Charlie Wajara to access the Protestant side. We had this case last year where a full bus, I think there were 2 buses, who were going to the Anglican side, and they wanted to use Charlie Wajala to access the other side. And yet we had released the program early enough, and we had informed that people going to the other side, please pass like this, like this, like this. And then in the end, these people come so late, the road is already congested with people, and they are insisting on passing here at Charlie Wajala. So this is what I'm saying. Because if we inconvenience you, remember, you're going to be disorganized, I'm telling you. So you keep within the program and avoid these unnecessary inconveniences.
Now, also there has been a concern that much as we have always the traffic plan, the guidelines given, there's so much jam when it comes to this passage of the pedestrian. I think it's from Chalwaja to the shrines, those that are going to the Catholic side, where it is non-motorized, you don't allow vehicles, but then what happens? Is it due to high numbers, lack of a better plan?
There's so many factors that lead to that.
You just see a swarm of people taking hours and hours in that queue. I think you get the route I'm talking about, Afand.
Absolutely, but
and it really becomes problematic.
It is unavoidable, first of all, because the numbers are really big. They're really big, and you know there's a lot of trading along that road. People have their merchandise, they have rosaries, Bibles, whatever items there, underwear, they're all displayed there. Then there is pork, there is merrymaking, there's a lot of, so all those activities create a lot of congestion, which is a natural phenomenon because you don't expect it not to happen anyway. So that's why we even restrict vehicular movement through that stretch, and we only allow pedestrians to access that space. You get it? So for that, we can't avoid it. The numbers will always be there, but how we manage matters a lot.
And let's look at also another problem that usually accrues. You said these gallant men and women spend the entire night and they have been there for a long time. We should not disorganize them in any way. We should follow these guidelines. But there's usually a tendency that after mass, after prayers are done, leaving Namugongo becomes a problem because your men seem to withdraw.
Not really.
Don't you have an exit plan? What happens?
I think what happens, we kind of disappear within the crowd because as people leave Namugongo, man, it is some I don't know what to call it, but it is so congested because now cars are leaving, people are walking in numbers, people are lost. They're disturbing traffic officers. Me, I'm heading here. Me, I'm heading there. Where's my car? Some of them ask us, where's the car that brought me? So you wonder what to do, and then that's why I'm saying somehow we get lost in that crowd as people are leaving Namugongo because swarms of people are just coming in big numbers. You get it, and also now controlling a point becomes so challenging because of the numbers. You get it? Then you won't be seen, you won't be, so what happens? People, our traffic officers also will first maybe step aside. Because now you will be useless being at a point where even your instructions won't be followed. What would you be doing there? You get my point? So as the numbers keep on reducing, the area police of Namugongo takes over to control all those points. You get it? this support staff, because you remember we just support Namugongo with personnel from other areas. You get it? So once the place is a bit cleared, that's when we withdraw and we leave the area for area police to do the work.
Okay, that explains that. Anyway, why sometimes that disorganization. Now, I have to let you go, Afande. I know you're busy. Saturday is not very far from now. But let me have your parting shot to Ugandans, to those that are coming to Namugongo, to those that stay within this area that usually find it very hard to access their homes and enjoy life normally.
Yeah, this message goes especially to those residents who are in and around Namugongo. This event is a few hours. Of course, I'm not saying that it is okay to inconvenience anyone with even by 5 minutes, but given the sensitivity of this event, we pray that you understand and you be a little patient until when we are done with the function. We pray that you understand, and also we pray that you are responsive on this request. Otherwise, we wish you all a very happy Mother's Day celebration 2023. Thank you very much, Mr. Kirab.
Well, thank you so much, Sarongo Rogers Kawuma Nsereko, who happens to be the traffic commandant for Kampala Metropolitan. We've been looking at the traffic guidelines for Mother's Day celebrations, which is just this Saturday on the 3rd of June, where we expect thousands to gather in Namugongo. We hope that we follow these guidelines, and of course those that will have few inconveniences, well, they're just hours and the situation will be going back normal. But also very importantly to note, do not carry anything that is a sharp object, otherwise you will not access the shrine. So that is on the other side, criminal side. Don't carry so much of your belongings. Be as light as you should. That is what police has asked you to do. And also be vigilant. Anybody that you suspect to have any dangerous item or behaves in a funny way, report to the authorities there. Well, Ruben is very ready to take you through sports, and I'll return in the next hour. Good morning.
When you talk about our motherland Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, you cannot fail to smile because of the smile that fills the faces of the citizens. Our nice good weather and nature that sustains us all, that enables us all to continue each in their own way, because we are all different even according to each individual's work. But what joins us to become one person is the sweetness from the flavored drink Alleluia Jingati drink and Alleluia Tamarind drink. The flavor that quenches your thirst while at the same time treating and healing your body, because it is 100% natural. Enjoy the drink that has got the tamarind juice in it. Made by Alleluia Reflexology, Healthy Solutions and Nutritional Research Center Limited. Get yourself a bottle of Alleluia from all shops around.
Ocho, mwami musoke. Ndiyo sene kusanga.
Ate chichi.
Munange.